Our next guest is one of the most listened to doctors in America, and he's been taking calls since 1992 with his syndicated radio show, Loveline. He's also the executive producer and host of several television series, including Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, Sober House, and Sex Rehab with Dr. Drew, and we're happy to have him joining us this morning. Dr. Drew, let's talk about an epidemic that is close to your heart. Prescription drug abuse among teenagers in the United States has become a serious concern for many, many people. According to a national survey on drug use, 1 in 5 teenagers has abused prescription medications, pain relievers, stimulants, sedatives, tranquilizers. 70% of teens that abused say they got their prescription drugs from family and from friends. Talk to us about this alarming trend.
You're absolutely right. That data is completely accurate and alarming. A little bit of data that I find most disturbing is that teens, 2,500 teens, will begin abusing drugs, prescription drugs, today and each and every day. We are losing ground on the prescription drug front. We are improving on the illicit drug field, but when it comes to prescription drugs, things get worse every day. And you've got to really look, we have to really look at ourselves as the source of this. Those of us that are parents, look in your medicine cabinet and you'll see, I guarantee that practically every one of your viewers out there has got an old bottle of a sleeping medicine, an anxiety medicine, or a pain medicine left over from a procedure or a previous doctor visit. And the kids see that sitting in the medicine cabinet, being treated very casually, and as such, we're sending them a message. These things are safe, they're no big deal, and that's exactly how kids think about this.
And you just heard me say some of the statistics. They really are truly alarming. It is estimated that 12 to 17-year-olds abuse prescription drugs more than they abuse things like ecstasy, crack cocaine, heroin, even methamphetamines. Why have teenagers turned to these types of drugs?
Well, again, as I was just saying, it's the fact that we live in a pill society. We, as adults, take these things very casually. We all have them sitting around our medicine cabinets. And as well, these kids have come to think of pills as solutions. We've lost track of the fact that all medications are dangerous. Any medication can kill you. Any medication can have an adverse effect. And I was raised by a family practitioner. My dad was a family practitioner. He'd always say, look, no medicine unless there's a very good reason to take the risk for it. As opposed to today, we seem to see pills as the answer to everything, to make us happy, to make us sleep, to take pain away. And we become very casual about the use of the medicine. And this is being transmitted to our kids. Every one of your kids knows someone who's on, say, a psychostimulant for ADD, which may be appropriate, but kids, again, get the message that these medicines are no big deal. So what if I take them to study? I've known my little friend Judy's been on it since she was 11. How bad could it be if I take it to study for my chemistry test? These are the ways they think. And they're not stupid. There's an inverse relationship in kids between the probability of the perceived harm and the probability of use. In other words, if they think it's harmful, they're less likely to use. Unfortunately, they don't think it's harmful, so they're very likely to use.
Now, which prescription drugs do you think are most abused by teenagers now?
Well, the ones we're most concerned about are the benzodiazepine class, Valium, Ativan, Librium, and amongst those includes the sleeping medication like Ambien or Restoril. And then the pain medications, Darvocet, Vicodin, Narco, OxyContin. These are all just heroin, effectively, in a pill. And these are the things that the kids are abusing and getting severely addicted to.
That's a great point. Now, what are some of the behaviors maybe that parents should be on the lookout for if they suspect that they have a child who is using drugs?
It's hard with adolescents and young adults to detect drug use per se. Really, any mental health issue in a young person manifests essentially with the same spectrum of symptoms, which is changes in appetite, changes in sleep patterns, changes in dress, drop in grades. Drop in grades is actually the most sensitive indicator that there's a significant problem. Changes in peer group, changes in appearance, anger outbursts. And now here's the deal. If you find substances on your child, whether it's cannabis, pot, or a prescription drug, if you are aware and have found those medicines, do not let them talk you out of the fact that this is a serious problem. You have a profound problem then. Kids go to great lengths to hide this stuff, and if you have found it, they become so sloppy with their addiction that you now are aware of it, you need professional help at that point.
Talk to us a little bit about RX Locker, the RX Locker product. Where did this idea come from?
RX Locker is an idea that really is very simple. This is the RX Locker. It's just going at the notion that people are too casual about their prescription drugs. I've talked for quite some time about the fact that we all have it sitting in our medicine cabinets. Well, it can still sit in our medicine cabinet, but how about putting it in a lock box? It has a combination lock on this end. You put it in here, and yes, of course, kids, if they want to get into it, can saw it in half if they want to, but it's sending a message. And by the way, if somebody's tampering with your RX Locker, you know, again, you have a serious problem in your household. It's giving kids the message that these things should be behind lock and key. They are not to be held, they are not to be managed casually. They are something that we need to deal with the appropriate care given how dangerous and addictive these substances are.
Now, I understand that you've teamed up with the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the Hillsides Home for Children, and the two charities will receive a portion of the proceeds from each RX Locker sold worldwide. Is that right?
That's right. The Partnership for Drug-Free America is somebody I've been working with for a long time. Hillside Home for Children is an organization in Los Angeles that does therapeutic living and education for kids that have been abused or have been addicted or come from addictive homes. These are charities that I support wholeheartedly, and I'm delighted that something as good as this, a product that is going to make a positive difference, a life-changing difference in people's lives, will also be able to support important charities.
What's the success rate in the children that you've helped overcome drug abuse problems?
The success rate treating addiction in adolescents is actually quite low. We have to keep them engaged in treatment. It's very difficult to treat that population. Once they hit young adulthood, we tend to do better with them. And again, how you measure success in addiction is difficult to really nail down, because addiction is a chronic disease like diabetes or asthma. We don't say diabetes treatment is a complete failure. Insulin is a failure because people's blood sugar goes out of control once in a while. We say it's a chronic disease, we need to tune them back up. Addiction is the same way. Success is about keeping somebody engaged in the treatment process. Yes, they may relapse, they may use, but as long as they remain primarily engaged in the treatment process, that is successful treatment. And from that perspective, we have very good outcomes.
What advice do you have for parents who are not sure how to talk to their children about drug-related issues?
I always tell my kids there's certain things that I don't accept in my household, and that starts with illegal activities. I just don't allow it. And I don't create the laws, but I follow the laws. And drinking under 21, using substances that aren't prescribed to you, buying or using illicit drugs, I don't tolerate that. And if you do that, you'll have to face the law. That's an easy place to start.
What website do you think parents in need should visit?
On rxlocker.com, we have a resource page where you can find resources, hopefully in your area. But I'll tell you what, start with your doctor, with your medical community. Ask for help. Every community has help. Go out, reach out, and get it.
Thank you again, Dr. Drew, for being part of our show. We wish you much success in your projects, and we look forward to having you in our studio real soon.